Well, I hope that you're continuing to enjoy this Easter weekend. Here we are on Easter Monday. It's slightly strange for many of us, actually, because a holiday weekend is only usually a holiday weekend when you've had work either side of it. But for most of us in this lockdown period, all of life is out of rhythm and a bit out of kilter. Anyway, on this Easter Monday, there are good things to enjoy. Easter eggs, hot cross buns. Amazing how often our surroundings, our fellowship, our celebrations of major events are around food. So enjoy good food today. So our thought today is from the book of James. It's about practical Christianity, working out our faith. We're not going to church, we're not meeting with our fellow Christians, but of course our faith still lives. And as the Queen said in her recorded message yesterday, actually on Saturday, she said, Easter's not cancelled, and she was so right. So Easter's not cancelled, Jesus is alive, the church is still living and active, though it isn't formally gathering. And the book of James is that great New Testament book about living out our faith in practical ways, not just talking about faith, but demonstrating it by our works. One of the most famous verses in the book of James about this is in chapter 1 and verse 27. You might want to read it as the day goes on. Religion that our God and Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after widows and orphans in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. So it's a conversation about personal holiness, and then about social holiness, about compassion to others, in this case, widows and orphans. This is a good time to celebrate that the human race, all of us, Christians, non-Christians, people who follow Jesus and those who don't, are made, as the book of Genesis tells us, in the image of God, whether we like it or not. He's our creator. And many people have become heroes during this time. Shopkeepers, doctors and nurses, of course. We've celebrated them by applause on our doorstep and regular mentions in the course of the media. But there are thousands of unsung heroes. People just keeping an eye on a neighbour or a friend, taking medicine or a meal, leaving it on the doorstep of someone who's unable or frightened to get out. And so these small things actually are quite big things. And when Corona's done and dusted, when the lockdown ends, as surely it will, people will remember these small acts of kindness in a way that's far greater, actually, than the act itself might appear at first sight. And so today, not just as human beings, but as followers of the Jesus who is alive and risen this Easter time, we are to be involved in practical acts of kindness. And so, yet again today, as many times in these vlogs I've said this, let's look out beyond ourselves. Take someone an Easter egg and leave it on their doorstep. Take someone some flowers, call them on the phone or Skype. Loneliness, isolation is the great danger of this period. The mental health issues that might flow from being so incredibly separated from so many of those we know and love. And in other cases, just simply separated from other human beings, and the great challenge of that. So, let's follow the book of James today. And in excitement as this Christmas weekend, this Easter weekend continues. By the way, Christmas is a good time too for food, isn't it? Mince pies and all those other things. An illustration of what I said earlier about how we're always celebrating around food. Well, at this Easter weekend, let's eat good food, but let's share it with others. And let's make sure that we're doing what James says about sharing good news. Not just in our words, so that's a good thing, but by our loving actions to those around us. Don't let the virus define us, but let our loving actions define us today.